More than 7,000 asylum seekers have arrived in New York City in the last 2 weeks, and the mayor's office is struggling to put a stop to the flood of migrants coming in, or at least attempting to try and slow them down. Mexican officials clear border camps as U.S. pressure mounts to limit migrant crossings. But Mexico, despite and desperate to get crossings reopened to its manufactured goods, is starting to indicate it will crack down a little bit more on the growing number of people at the border. But meanwhile, Eric Adams has enforced new rules and bus arrival scheduling, mandating pre-approval before showing up and just dropping off more illegal migrants in the city. But that doesn't seem to be working, since Texas and other states just found ways to bypass the whole new bus law. And instead, they load up commercial airlines and send airplanes full of migrants instead. Now, the airports, LaGuardia, it's hard to say, LaGuardia, and JFK will be overrun with migrants instead. And Philadelphia's airport too, which I don't know the name of Philly's airport, since migrant flights from Texas that Governor Abbott had heading to New York, a sanctuary city, managed to get diverted to Philadelphia instead. So, Texas Governor Greg Abbott dispatched a flight carrying more than 180 migrants to New York City as part of the state's initiative to send migrants to sanctuary cities. However, due to adverse weather conditions, the flight was rerouted to Philadelphia. From there, the migrants were transported to New York City by bus. Now Philadelphia's problem, not Texas. And this action is a continuation of Abbott's policy initiated in April of 2022 of busing migrants to cities that limit cooperation with federal immigration enforcement. New York City Mayor Eric Adams' office, which has been raising concerns about the influx of migrants for over a year, criticized the move as inhumane. The flight diversion to Philadelphia and subsequent bus transportation to New York was described as treating humans as political pawns. The latest flight follows a similar one last week to Chicago, carrying 120 migrants, according to sources in Abbott's office. All migrants on these transports have signed voluntary waivers, and this expansion of Abbott's busing strategy is claimed to provide relief to Texas border towns and will continue until, as Abbott asserts, President Biden secures the border. So, until forever, or at least until he's voted out of office. Now, the strategy has sparked criticism from various city mayors and the Biden administration, with the White House labeling it a political stunt. Despite this, Texas maintains that the actions are to assist border towns overwhelmed by the border crisis. So we have a border stunt and political pawns, but nobody really actually trying to get anything done in Washington. But in New York City, the arrival of these migrants has intensified an already severe migrant crisis. Mayor Adams has called for more federal support for resettlement and has warned that the crisis could severely impact the city, more so than it already has. Over the past year, more than 160,000 migrants have entered the New York City's shelter system, costing billions of dollars. The Biden administration highlights that the funding and support that it has provided to cities like New York for processing work permits and making improvements. However, further federal aid is currently stalled in Congress due to debates over asylum restrictions. And this comes as federal officials report a record number of migrant encounters at the southern border in November. But let's just be honest here, folks. There's no need to lie or dance around the truth, trying to beat around the bush and putting lipstick on this pig. Biden isn't really helping either, especially since U.S.-Mexico migration talks between Mexico's president and the Biden administration included benefits of, and I quote, regularizing illegal immigrants living in U.S. Man, we got a lot to talk about. And with just a few hours to go before the official ball drops and we say goodbye to 2023 on 1/2/3/123, there's a heightened level of alert for major U.S. cities due to the inherent threat that internationally televised NYE celebrations present. And it isn't just limited to NYC and the hopes of Kathy Hochul and Eric Adams keeping New Yorkers safe. Residents here in Tennessee are presented with raised safety concerns too, because with thousands expected to attend free New Year's Eve party in downtown Chattanooga, event organizers are beginning to express concerns over people's safety. Fortunately, their police force is adequately staffed, but the same can't be said for New York City, as they struggle to control crowds of migrants, wild and possibly intoxicated or influenced partygoers, and also war protests too. But I came across an alarming news report shared by ABC7 in California with a headline that read, "San Francisco makes attractive target on New Year's Eve." And the report released by the FBI, Homeland Security, and other law enforcement agencies pinpointed San Francisco as a direct source of concern. And according to a threat assessment, NYE and San Francisco remains an attractive target for foreign terrorist organizations, homegrown violent extremists, and domestic violent extremists, as well as lone offenders. The report indicates that high-profile events with big crowds and media coverage like the New Year's Eve fireworks celebration could be a concern, with as many as 150,000 people who are expected to turn out to catch the fireworks display, plus all the people who will also be checking out the Embarcadero, I don't even know what that is, the Embarcadero, the Ferris wheel, and Pier 39. They warned how the barges along the coastline used for the fireworks display could be attractive targets for malicious actors, especially with the ability to show off their harmful acts to other terrorist organizations and groups so easily with international media coverage broadcasting this event live. The FBI and other law enforcement will be focusing on protecting the city of San Francisco's coastline from the threat actors, and that remains one of the top maritime priorities during the San Francisco New Year's Eve fireworks celebration. And although not directly related, a Newsweek publication showed a map of Taiwan's beaches and their vulnerability to Chinese invasion. Just hours ago, an anti-landing drill scheduled in southwestern Taiwan was the latest military exercise aimed at protecting the island's red beaches, locations considered most vulnerable to China's potential invasion force. So needless to say, I would personally be staying far, far away from San Fran and its coastline, or at least until we are in the clear for the new year. BRICS nations, they ready an economic wrecking ball for US dollar. And speaking out on the alliance's de-dollarization plans, a former White House economist said, BRICS is readying an economic wrecking ball for the US dollar. They are continuing efforts for the alliance's collective abandonment of greenbacks, and developments only ensure the continued effectiveness of those efforts, specifically in the now five-nation expansion plan announced at this year's 2023 annual summit. And in regard to scrapping dollars, Walmart shoppers will be forced to use Affirm's buy now, pay later option as self-checkouts or at self-checkouts, since studies show high percentages, like something in the 60 or 70% range of people are way above their head and drowning in credit card debt and would otherwise have to put off purchases if it weren't for the ability to get loans and make payments to buy stuff from Walmart. But buyer beware. The interest rates on these BNPL Affirm payment plans and loans are hitting in the 30% range, which means that you will likely die first before you're ever fully paid up on these charges and get the interest paid off. But Walmart says shoppers are now value hacking to stretch whatever few dollars they have left. And this new term for the cost-cutting strategy is being watched closely and monitored by Walmart and their team, including the head of investor relations. And specifically, they said the concept applies to mixing and matching premium and what retailers call private label products within the same meal, and even noticing that more customers are adjusting their grocery runs to work around the timing of their paychecks. And since Walmart derives over 60% of its product sales from the grocery category, the company is highly in tune in how shopping behaviors are changing in the food aisles, especially after years of elevated inflation. But to answer some of you guys' questions that I received on previous videos and shorts that I uploaded to my channel, there are a few possible solutions to these problems. But the primary focus on and these solutions begin in Washington, okay? We need a president who can lead an administration and this country back to a place we haven't been for quite some time now, a place where Americans can go to work and earn a living wage, keep inflation under control, and interest rates and personal debt levels manageable. If you want to know how to do it now and do it on your own, even with this current clown shoe that we have as commander-in-chief, then you can reach me whenever you feel you're ready for the answers to this problem, specifically for yours. My contact info is below. Thank you guys for watching. Hit the like button and subscribe.